Assalamu alaikum. So late night reflection tonight, okay? So I recently had a conversation with somebody about this whole idea of I can't live without, okay? And I was like, no, we can live without everything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reality is that I am somebody who used to say that a lot. With regards to certain people in my life, I used to say, oh, I cannot live without XYZ, right? And believe me when I say this, Allah humbled me, okay? And Allah showed me how I can not only live without those people in my life, I can actually be much more happier. I can actually be thriving without those people in my life. And what I learned in the process is it's very important to understand that there's a difference between what we can't live without and what we don't want to live without, okay? And depending on how we see things, our emotions and behaviors are very different. When we feel like we can't, when we think like we can't live without somebody or something, we act in a desperate manner, and then we are not really clear. But if we are very clear that hey, I want XYZ situation, or I want this person, or I want XYZ thing, or I want to learn XYZ, right? Then I can be very clear in my mind it's a want. It's a choice I'm making. And then that puts you in a mindset of how do I achieve my want? What do I need to do? What am I willing to do for it? What am I not willing to do for it? And things like that. And in the same discussion, I also feel like some of us struggle very deeply to say to ourselves that I can do what I want. Okay. I deserve that. I have that for myself in my life. I want it. I am gonna do self-care because I want it for myself. Okay, not because it's a necessity. um, I am gonna go an extra mile for myself over here and there because I want to. I want to treat myself nicely. I want to be good to myself. And it's not, see, we struggle with this idea of selfishness, self-centeredness. But reality is we wouldn't even be having this conversation if I was talking about self-centered people, because self-centered people and selfish people don't even go ahead and do what they need and want. They go ahead and do whatever the hell they want, right? These discussions are really for people who put others first, who feel like that the only time they can do something for themselves and they can justify it in their heart is if it was a necessity. Other than that, they feel it hard to say to themselves that I want XYZ. And I myself used to be like that, and I'm learning to make it different because every time I look around and I'm like, what am I really looking for in a relationship or from a person? I'm trying to give that to myself, right? Because I don't want to be in a situation because I want somebody to love me in manners that nobody ever did before. I want to appreciate myself in a way that when I welcome somebody in my life, it's because I want them, right? And yeah, I just think this is a very important thing to understand in our lives, that the only thing we can really not live without is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And side tangent there too, if you're struggling with your deen, please take it as an emergency situation and get it sorted. Do reach out to a coach, please. Find a safe space where you can talk about your struggles with deen and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the image of God and things like that, because that you cannot live without. Without Allah, we cannot live. So yeah, I hope may Allah allow all of us to live ourselves in a manner that we take care of ourselves, we do right by ourselves and those around us for the sake of Allah, because we too are an amana from Him. And I hope we put all the relationships and everything in the right place, because when we don't, then that's the oppression, then that's the zulm, right? And same for ourselves, like we don't want to oppress ourselves in any way. And yeah, just quick night reflections. Assalamualaikum.